Hello, everybody. I want to welcome everyone to our live stream all about Kidventure Overnight Camp 2025. And happy Halloween, which kind of explains why I'm dressed up like this. I am the president of Kidventure. I'm Mike McDonell. I'm glad to be here with you today. Thank you so much. We do a lot of these live streams as an effort to educate our families, both our existing families who've been with us at camp and those that are maybe thinking about joining us. And what we're going to be focusing on today specifically is our 31st year of overnight camp in 2025. So we're not going to talk about day camp today. We're going to focus our attention on overnight camp. And joining me today is one of our staff members from the overnight camp program. Everyone say hello to Nicole. How are you doing, Nicole? I just can't hear you. I wonder if anybody else can hear you there, Nicole. I had you, and now I can't hear you. Well, I'm not hearing it yet, Nicole. You just went silent on me. You just don't have much to say today, I suppose, huh? All right. Well, while we're trying to figure out the, there we go. Let's see. There you go. Are you there now? Oh, okay, now we got you back.
So sorry about that. Happy Halloween, everybody.
So what is Halloween like for you guys?
Oh, well, we are going trick-or-treating for the first time with my daughter tonight, so
All right.
looking forward to that. Great vibes
Nice.
in the Austin today, so we're having
Okay.
a good time.
So Nicole just had a baby this year, everybody. Congratulations to you once again. And now what is she going? What is the baby going as for Halloween?
An overnight camper. No, she'll be a strawberry.
A strawberry. Okay. There you go. Are you going as like an apple or another fruit?
I should have. We just got some cool glasses to match her because I didn't want to outshine. It's her moment today, so.
Oh no, that wouldn't have happened, I don't think. No. You can't outshine a brand new baby. There's no way. Well, I appreciate you being here, Nicole. Nicole has been an absolute integral part of our overnight camp program. She's provided so much leadership and guidance throughout that, and she's got a great wealth of knowledge. I've asked her to join us today to impart that knowledge. So this is kind of how things are going to work. We're going to talk about all three programs at overnight camp, and that's going to be Safari, Quest, and then Echo, all of which have a session in the summer of 2025. We'll go over the specifics about each one in just a moment. Then after we talk about each one, Quest, Safari, and Echo, and their activities, and we'll show you images and all that good stuff so you have a good idea of what it looks like. Then we'll turn our attention to sort of the logistics, registration, communication, meals, cabins, all the things that a parent and a camper want to know about before they head out to overnight camp, right? And then we'll finish up with Q&A. We'll give you an opportunity to provide questions. So if you think of a question, don't wait till the very end, because those questions will propagate for us. Go ahead and throw those questions up there. We'll get to those questions at the end, throw those up on the board, and everybody will have an opportunity to have those questions answered for you. This is being recorded, so if you're not watching it now, then you're not watching it now, but we are recording it, and we'll post it. It'll be up on our YouTube page, I think Instagram, as well as we'll put it on our Facebook page as well. All right, so there we go. Let's get going. The first thing I want to do is just play a video, right? Let's look at what overnight camp's all about. This will get you a great idea of, man, the beauty of overnight camp and where we are in Rock Springs, Texas, and sort of the property that we're on. So let's turn our attention to that, you guys. Are you excited?
So pumped for your 31.
Every time I watch that video, I just get like, oh my gosh, are we ready to go? Is it time?
I got goosebumps all over. I'm ready.
I do too.
Like,
I do too.
June, let's go.
What's your favorite part? I mean, like on the property, what is your favorite place at camp?
Man, so hard to pick one. Can I say two?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, why not?
I would say Riverfront because we're all together.
Yeah.
It's just great vibes. We end the day, close it out. I mean, I would say along with a lot of the campers, that's where favorite memories are made. Those relationships are formed. And then our big barn that we get together. We start the day, we close there, we do tribal council, just where those closer relationships can form. The group all back together, kind of recap the day, be intentional with what we did, and get the staff all together. I think that's where the magic happens for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I love the riverfront. I love the barn. But for me, nothing beats being on top, that highest point at camp, at night, under the stars, and watching kids who've never, like especially kids that maybe come from Houston or Dallas, where there's not a lot of stars visible, and they're like that the whole time. And we're watching satellites, and we're watching shooting stars, and it's just like it literally opens up a whole new universe, right? Literally and figuratively for kids when we have that. And you know, the stars are amazing there, by the way. That's my favorite part. So let's kind of dig in a little bit, right? I want to talk about Safari and Quest first, okay? So we have 3 programs. I mentioned that before. There's Safari, which is 8 through 12-year-olds. What that means is you need to be turning 8 by the end of the summer, okay? I get that question a lot. And then there's Quest, which is also 8 through 12 years old. So what's the difference? Well, Safari is a 6-day program. Quest is a 9-day program, okay? The age is still the same. They still stay in the same cabins. They have 2 different sessions, so they're happening at 2 different times, all right? And the programming is a little bit different. You know, and we get this question a lot, like, should my child go to Safari first or go to Quest first? And really, it's up to you. I mean, you know, we offer a 6-day program as an opportunity for a kid maybe who's never gone to overnight camp before to like get in there on a 6-day program as opposed to a longer program like a 9-day program. So that might be one way of looking at it. But I have a lot of first-time campers that go to Quest first and don't go to Safari. You know, or they'll go to Safari one year, go to Quest another year. Maybe it works out for their family schedule a little bit better to do a 6-day program than a 9-day program. But here they are. So Safari is going to be June 30th through July 5th in 2025. That is the session for Safari. For Safari and Quest, we take 25 girls and 25 boys. That's all we take, right? So why do we take 50 kids and not 100 kids? Well, we've done that since 1994 because we want that opportunity for our kids when they leave camp to be one where they have like 49 brand new friends, right? And that's really it. I don't want those kids to be just like, you know, a one of a number, right? We want them to sort of, you know, have the opportunity to really get to know one another, get their staff. And so that's kind of how we do it, which is why our ratios are small too, is at 1 to 10. Okay, so 25 girls, 25 for both Safari and for Quest. Doesn't matter. One's a 6-day program, one is a 9-day program. All right. Did I miss anything there, Nicole?
No, it also just adds some of the activities that we do at Quest are a little more adventurous, very similar to Safari, but I know we do a lot more of activities that are kind of a little bit high intensity. So
we do.
Maybe first time overnight camp, but very adventurous. Quest would be a great fit for you.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Obviously, when you have 3 more days at camp, you have the opportunity to do 3 days worth of new stuff, which we do. So we're very creative on the Quest end of things. And they certainly get to do some things that they don't get to do at Safari. Okay. All right. Let's move on. I want to go over some of the activities that we do. All right. Now, this is not exclusive to everything we do because we do a ton of stuff. But these are kind of the main activities that your camper would be able to be a part of. The riverfront, which is probably, I would say, the kids' favorite place at camp, right? For obvious reasons, right? It's an incredible river. We're on the Nueces River, kind of where the hill country is transitioning into like West Texas a little bit. Crystal clear running river, cool, nothing beats it on a hot summer day. And, well, we have hot summer days in Texas. Rock climbing, we have some of the most incredible limestone rock climbing in all of Texas at camp. And our kids certainly get to participate in the climbing too as well. These are just some more pictures from camp. Caving, yes, your child gets to go on a caving experience. We have a really neat cave system there. We go down into the cave. We talk about how the cave was formed. We look at some of the structures in the cave, and then everybody turns off their headlamp, and it's like the darkest room you've ever been in your life. Archery and archery tag, part of what we also do at camp. Some more pictures of the riverfront. Those slides, those kids love to race each other down those slides, for sure. Stand-up paddling, kayaking, and not just stand-up paddling. Like we have the regular thing. Everybody knows stand-up paddling now, I think. But we have these giant stand-up paddling boards, which you can fit like, I don't know, 5, 6 people on them. And so the kids love to group up with their friends and go on these like super oversized stand-up paddle boards and go kayaking down the river. It's amazing. The blob, definitely a rite of passage. Nicole, have you ever been blobbed before?
I've been the blobber, but I fell off before I could be blobbed.
Oh. So maybe you fell off or on accident or maybe on purpose. Which one?
I was excited. We're going to have to try it again this year.
So the way the blob works is there's a platform you can see behind that kid right there. And think of the blob as like a gigantic pillow, right, that's filled up with air. You jump on it and you sort of flop around. Then you scoot to the end of it. You sit down. The next person in line jumps. And when they land on it, it displaces the air and launches you up into the air and into the river. Definitely a fun time for sure. All right, so you might have heard Nicole mention the barn. This is the barn, and I would call this sort of like our home base, right, for Quest and Safari, right? Talk to us, Nicole. Talk to us a little bit about the barn and kind of what we do here.
Well, this is where we open and close every single day here at camp. We get the morning started, just kind of touching base with everyone, our schedule for the day, and then we come back at the end to do a tribal ceremony where we do fun counselor challenges, camper challenges, getting everyone engaged, just a lot of silly things, recap our day, have those intentional discussions with our small groups, and as a total group, that opportunity is also given to campers to shout out their friends. So a lot of small things have happened throughout the day that maybe staff members haven't heard or seen. So it's nice to see all those small things that happen that have such a big impact on the kids. We also do a movie night here during the week, and we also close out the session with a big party at the end of the week, a big costume party. So that's always fun. But yeah, this is definitely a home base is a perfect explanation for the barn. So
yeah, what you don't see in this picture are the cabins, which are very close to that. They're kind of like if you're staring at the barn right now, they would be behind you, right? So the cabins, volleyball courts, all that stuff is right in this area, and this is our area. We have it exclusively. We do some other events in there like drift bikes and the egg drop challenges in there. And so it really is kind of a neat place and a place we love to sort of like gather for different times during the day. And there's a picture of one of the camps, right? Probably at the end, right before we loaded up on the bus, I'm guessing. Yeah. All right. So the next program that we have is Echo. Now, Echo is for our 13 through 16-year-olds, and those kids, have a much different program. So they have one option. It's a 9-day option, right? And theirs is going to be July the 12th through the 20th this year or next year in 2025. A lot different focus. Okay, so Safari and Quest, the focus is, let's get together. Let's share in this incredible adventure. Let's do all these great things. Let's really foster some lasting, long relationships. and let's go away from camp having built a greater sense of self-esteem, greater sense of self-worth, more independence. Man, you've spent like 9 or 6 days away from mom and dad, and you've done all these amazing things. Look at you. I mean, that's like the power of overnight camp, right? Because like a lot of, especially for our younger campers, God, they come to camp and they're nervous. They don't really know anybody, and real quick, they realize that, oh man, this is a really cool place. These are really great people. They start making friends. You can see the confidence just start rolling downhill. And then they sort of like come out of their shell. And they start to do things that they never thought they would do before. And then they go home. And the goal is for those lessons and those memories and those opportunities to be imparted on every other part of their life, right? And I think that's the power of overnight camp. Echo, because I came way around on this, Echo's a little bit different. Echo, we're focused on leadership, right? We know that age group, 13 to 16, is kind of a crossroads, right? And how we conduct ourselves, the path we want to take, the decisions we make when we're 13 to 16 years old can really set yourself on a trajectory one way or the other. And we want that trajectory for our Echo kids to be one where they value each other, where they value themselves, where they're respectful of who they are and what they want to become. And we want to impart leadership skills, right? The opportunity to be able to work in groups and make great decisions and negotiate and compromise, to take chances, to take risks, right? And so we're very intentional about that in regards to Echo. So there's more team building in Echo. There's more debriefs at the end of the night where we're talking about the struggles maybe we went through that day. We're talking about the highs and the lows. And it's just amazing how powerful like Echo can be. I don't know if you want to speak to some of that, Nicole, because I know that's a thing that you love so much.
I agree 1,000,000% with everything you said. With the beginning of camp that you spoke about earlier, I always say that the bus ride up to camp is always so quiet, and then at the end, I mean, it's the most magical thing about overnight camp. They come back different kids, and I especially see that with Echo. Leadership is such an amazing quality that you see grow throughout the week, and we're very intentional, like Mike said, about our activities and debriefing after every single one, and our counselors are so amazing about having those intentional conversations, growing that bond, and it's a great age, and you really, really get to see those relationships form between the campers and with the campers and the staff. So it's one of my favorite. I love all of Kidventure, but Echo is one of the most amazing things.
I was talking to somebody yesterday, Nicole, about middle school, right? And we were like reflecting back on our own middle school. And for me, it was like one of the most awkward times in the world, right? Okay. And I wish I'd had this opportunity to go away with like 49 other people who were feeling awkward as well, right? And be involved in something that brought all of us together in the same place, doing all these amazing adventures and talking about everything and making friends in an environment that had nothing to do with my cell phone, nothing to do with a screen, none of the like distractions, if you will, that pull our kids away from like real friendships and real human interaction. You know what I mean? Because I think that's such a challenge. So much of what we do at Kidventure today is built on getting the digital world out of the way, right? And returning back to what's most important, and that's fostering meaningful friendships and relationships with people. And we just use like rock climbing and kayaking and caving and a backcountry backpack as a vehicle, right, to foster those relationships, right? And man, it's just so much fun when these kids, like you said, right, when they come up there on the bus, it's like this awkward kind of a silence. We're trying to get the kids to like, break the ice, that kind of thing. When they go home, it's like the loudest bus ride in the world. And then when they get off, everybody's crying. Like you have all these kids that are just like boo-hooing, and it's because they know that they're leaving something that was so meaningful, right? Only to return a year later.
Yeah, and then when they return a year later, even if they maybe haven't seen each other, it's like they've been hanging out every single day since.
Right. Yeah. It kind of has that. Yes, for sure. Totally has that vibe. All right. So let's talk a little bit more. Let's dive in to Echo. if we will. These are some pictures. Rock climbing, definitely a big part of what we do. That upper right-hand picture right there is called a Sherpa trek. So when you think of rock climbing, you think of going up, right? You're climbing up. On the Sherpa trek, it's going sideways across. It's going sideways across the cliff band. They do it together. They're clipped into a cable. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. All right, let's go into some more pictures here. Super swing. So imagine that you and two of your best friends are strapped into this like harness contraption, and that is on a giant swing cable that goes all the way up, and the rest of your best friends are cranking you up and up and up and up, and then you release this release rope and you go swinging through this canyon, and everybody's like, it's like the most guttural scream you could ever imagine, only to be outdone by one of the longest zip lines in the Southwest, which we do, and that's on your right-hand side. So we hike up to the zipline tower, kids go all the way to the top of the tower, and literally for about 30 seconds they're flying through the air over the Texas Hill Country. Unbelievable, right? It's just amazing. So there's that. More pictures of the riverfront, and I'll be honest with you, especially 13 to 16, yeah, they love the swing, they love the blob, but what they really love is hanging out and talking, right? And just being together and not staring at their phone. And so that's really a great place for them to do all that kind of stuff. Oh, there's that giant stand-up paddleboard I was talking about earlier. A lot of fun. And then rappelling and rock climbing, more pictures there. Here's a great shot of riverfront, at least a section of riverfront. It's obvious why everyone loves the riverfront. I will tell you that all of our campers, all of our staff wear a life jacket the entire time on the riverfront, which from a staffing standpoint and a counselor standpoint and a company standpoint, I love it. The kids love it too because they don't have to swim around. They can just sort of hang out in the water, and it's real easy. All right. So one of the really cool things about Echo that we do not do on Safari and we do not do on Quest is the backcountry backpacking trip. So midweek, towards the end of the week, our campers gear up with a backpack, with tent. They don't need all that. We provide the backpack, we provide the tent, and the sleeping pad. They just provide a sleeping bag, and that's all in your gear list. And we set out for a 2-day backpacking trip. And no electricity. We head out into the backcountry. We set up camp under the stars at the highest point on the property. The kids learn how to cook their own food. They learn how to set up camp. They learn how to make a fire. We tell stories around the campfire. We make s'mores. We, lay out underneath the stars. It's probably, if you ask the kids at Echo what they remember most, it's probably a good majority of them would say the backpacking trip into the backcountry. It's just that cool. It's like something a lot of kids just never have the opportunity to do. Here's more pictures from that trip. Amazing. And then the last thing that we do at Echo that we don't do in Quest or Safari is we have a day of community service. So here at Kidventure, we believe that one of the best ways to teach kids how to be leaders is to give them an opportunity to give back. And we've done the community services projects a variety of ways. We've been into Rock Springs one year, and the kids painted a house of an elderly couple that was disabled. We've washed the dishes for another program. We had a group of kids that came out that had Down syndrome, and they helped out with that camp, and they helped out in the kitchen. Suffice to say that the community service project is just a great way of our kids to give back and to help bolster their ability to become leaders, right? And to understand that. And it's always been a part of the Echo program as long as I can remember, and it's one that the kids really love to do. They get to plan it. They get to be a part of it. We talk about it afterwards. Anyway, it's just a really cool thing. Anything else you want to add before we kind of shift our attention?
This past year with the community service, I had a couple families actually come up to me. And I know a lot of kids are in extracurriculars, school organizations about community service hours. So if that's something that you need to get signed off on, I know a lot of middle schools, high schools do that. Just make sure you let our director know. You can email us at overnight@Kidventure, and we'll make sure we get those documents signed. But that was something this past summer that got brought up. Perfect.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and we'll create those certificates for those volunteer hours. And they got a whole day of volunteer hours that day. So anyway, it's a good chunk. All right, so that hopefully that gives you kind of an idea what Safari Quest and Echo look like in terms of the activities and what we're doing. Let's talk about a little bit more about what the programs include. Okay, so all the programs are going to include transportation from Houston, Austin, and Dallas. All right, a lot of camps, you drive to camp, you drop off your kid, and they do it that way. From the very beginning, we've always felt like the camp should start from the moment you leave home, right? And so we put our kids on a bus and we break the ice and we play a bunch of games on the bus, and we, that way when we get to camp and that bus door opens up and we step foot in Rock Springs, the kids already kind of know each other, right? We hit the ground running, if you will. And plus it's super convenient because wherever you live, it's real easy to leave from Houston, Austin, or Dallas. We have kids that come from China, we got kids that come from Mexico, we have kids that come from Houston, and they're usually coming from one of those cities there, okay? Obviously, all your lodging, your meals, activities are included. We provide you with a free app that you download on your phone, and it will provide pictures that we take during camp and video, and also has notifications, which is awesome. That way it gives a parent the opportunity to sort of like be engaged with what's going on. So it's amazing. We also have a meet and greet, which I think this year is June 18th, 2025. It's a chance for Echo has their own session, Safari and Quest have their own session, but we all get on a Zoom call, right? Because our kids are from all over the place. It's much easier to do that than do it in person. And you get to meet all the staff. We tell stories about camp. The kids ask questions, and oh my gosh, do they ask questions. We kind of go over the itinerary. We set expectations. They have a clear picture of what camp is like, especially for our newer campers at the end of that meet and greet. And frankly, it's just kind of a fun, entertaining time. So anyway, we also do a pizza meal on the way home. So we feed our kids on the way home before they depart and leave, okay? All right, I want to talk about the cabins a little bit. And this is a really important part, by the way. Our cabins are really nice. They're very spacious. There's girls and boys cabins. Our counselors, girls are with the girl campers, boys are with the boy campers. And restrooms and shower facilities are right there as well. But most importantly, all of our cabins are air conditioned, right? It's Texas. I don't have to tell those of you who live in Texas right now how warm it can be in the summertime. There is nothing like coming back from a long day of caving and hiking and walking into your cabin and it's like a cold blast of air. Our kids sleep better, they feel better, they refresh quicker. It's amazing. A lot of camps don't have air conditioning, and that's totally fine, but I would prefer to have our kids have air conditioning. Restrooms, showers are all private, and just really great spaces for our kids to sleep and come back to and hang out to when we do that kind of thing. All right, meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all served for us, made from scratch. We do these family style, if you will. They are both healthy and tasty, and look, we're active at camp. We need to eat. Like when it comes time for lunch and dinner, those kids are lined up like a good 5-10 minutes before they can serve themselves. Am I right?
They're ready to go.
They're ready to go.
Staff is too.
Yeah, staff is too as well. And if you have a kid, with allergies or gluten-free or vegan or vegetarian, we will make accommodations. I know that's a question that comes up quite a bit, and so we want to make sure that you understand that. We just need to know that well in advance so that we can get with our cooking team and they can make preparations for you. Okay? All right, let's see if I think I have. So like this is a good example at Mikasa for Echo, how we eat. Very family style, all sitting around a table. Cleaning up after ourselves, taking care of ourselves, being responsible for ourselves, all a part of eating at camp. All right. I want to talk and turn our attention to tribes, okay? So one of the things that you might be wondering is how do you organize those 50 kids, right? Are the 13-year-olds with my 8-year-old? Are, those kind of questions like that. The answer is we separate our kids into what we call tribes. And let me see if I believe I do here. Let's go to this. Okay, so here, this would be for Safari and Quest, okay? We have 4 tribes. They are the turtle, the buffalo, the bear, and the eagle. And there's a lot of pride in what tribe you are in. On the first day of camp, one of the big important things that we do in the evening time is each camper gets inducted into their tribe. Now, tribes are divided primarily by age, right? So we're putting our youngest campers in turtle, and then buffalo, and then bear, and oldest campers in eagle, okay? And that's kind of how it works, right? You might be like, well, I want my cousin's going with me, I want to be with him. As long as your cousin is relatively the same age and you put on your buddy list your cousin's name, then we're going to put them in the same tribe. Definitely. If you're coming with a friend, if you're coming with a cousin, as long as you're not 8 and they're 13, right, then we're going to put those y'all in the same tribe, okay? So a lot of what we do during the day is divided up by tribes. So turtles might be going rock climbing while buffaloes are going rappelling, then they'll switch. During that same time, bears are at the riverfront and eagles are maybe going caving, okay? Everything is pre-planned out. We know where everything goes, where everybody goes. We all come together for meals. We all come together for tribal ceremony. We all come together for large-scale events in the evening, whether that's campfire or movie night in the woods or whatever it might be. But that's how we organize our kids from a logistical standpoint, from an age standpoint. Because what we're doing with a 13-year-old is different than what we're doing with an 8-year-old, okay? And it has to be age appropriate, all right? Same thing with cabins, too, as well. Okay, anything to add to that, Nicole?
No.
All right. So let me give you kind of a sample. This is way, dumbed down, kind of sample daily itinerary, but it'll give you a sense of when, we're getting up. So typically about 7:30, it's rise and shine, right? Rustling the campers out of bed, getting them ready, brush your teeth, let's get going. And then we're out breakfasted by about 8 o'clock. Then we have, let's call it a morning session. There's going to be activities from after breakfast till before lunch, okay? And here I've got turtle and buffalo are going to zip line and hike, and the eagles and bears are going on a caving trip, okay? Then we all come back together for lunch, and then we have afternoon activities. Afternoon activities tend to involve the waterfront. Why? Because it's the best place to be in the afternoon, right? Not always. We do other things too as well, but we usually will almost always hit the waterfront at some point during the afternoon. I think it's important to give our kids choices too. I don't want to structure their time without them having choice. So we always build in time for them to choose what they want to do, right? And that might be just to hang out with a friend. It could be to play volleyball, whatever. But that's an important part. And then we have dinner, usually around 6 o'clock. If we had dinner at 7 o'clock, I think people would be freaking out, Nicole, right? Feed me. Totally. And then every evening has a special event, right? And the kids really look forward to this. It could be Rainbow, which is a giant game that we play. It could be movie night in the woods. It could be the safari dance or the quest dance on the last night where they have a costume party and the kids dress up and we have a big dance and they get soda for the first time in 6 days or 9 days and oh my gosh. And And we have a blast. It's so much fun. And then it's bedtime. I mean, typically for Quest and Safari, that bedtime's somewhere around like 9:30. And our last night, we let the kids stay up late till about 11 o'clock. And then we leave the next day. So there you go. That's kind of a sample itinerary. Very basic, but there you go. Okay. I think that's... Did I put... I think... Let me see if I put it on here. No. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I did put it on there. Echo. Echo is divided into two tribes. Okay? Denoma and Miyakota. Okay? Denoma is a symbol, is a Native American sign for the sun, and Miyakota is the moon. Okay? And so our youngest of that 13 through 16 are Denoma, and the oldest are Miyakota. They're divided up during the days doing a variety of different things, right? So that we can age appropriately address those kids. But that, once again, they all come together for meals. They come together in the evenings for special events. And sometimes other events will just all be together too as well where appropriate. So those are your tribes for Echo. Anything else to add to that, Nicole?
Nope. Denoma is about 13 to 14-year-olds, and Miyakota is about the 15 to 16-year-olds.
You got it. There we go. All right. So let's talk a little bit about registration. We have had priority registration since October 1st for our campers that went in 2024. We always give our existing campers from that year the first shot at spots. So a lot of these spots have been taken up by 2024 kiddos who've been to camp already. Tomorrow, registration opens up for everybody else, right? Because we only take 50 kids each session. That's only 150 spots at Kidventure for overnight camp. So they do fill up very quickly, all right? To register, you would just go to online to kidventure.com, click on the overnight camps programs, and anywhere you see a registration button, just click on there. If you have an account already with us, let's say you've gone to day camp, then you already have an account. You don't have to create a new account for overnight camp because you're already in our system. It's super easy. Just log into your account and select this overnight camp session that you desire. $35 registration fee plus a $100 deposit will hold that spot. You do not have to pay for the remaining balance until May 1st of 2025. Pretty easy, okay? So there's that. Okay. I'm going to switch here. There we go. One of the things that we do, I think, really well is, outside of camp, is communicating with you prior to camp, okay? I think one of the keys to the success of every camper and every staff member is preparation. That preparation comes in the form of knowing exactly, what you need to pack. So expectations are also important. We send you our itinerary out as well. We send you contact information. We do a really good job ahead of time. And so in May of 2025, we will send out what we call the overnight camp packet to you. And that overnight camp packet has all the things that I'm talking about right now. Itinerary specific to your session, packing list, check boxes, everything so that you know exactly what to put in that bag to be successful. Contact information for us. And what am I missing? Invitation to the meet and greet, formal invitation to that as well. Okay, so everything you need is in there. Okay, instructions to download the app and what the app's going to do for you guys during camp as well. So that happens in May, and then the meet and greet will happen on the 18th of June, just before the first session of camp starts. By that time, you should be good to go. However, if you have any questions specific to your child, specific maybe to medical needs, specific to allergies, specific to special needs, whatever it might be, we always encourage our families to call us at the Kidventure Overnight Camp office, and we'll get on the phone and we'll talk about that, and we'll have a great plan of action for you. Not knowing does not prepare you or us for a successful camp. So anyway, What else, Nicole, before we move on?
To go along with the first aid and everything, staff is completely trained in that regard. There's also a nurse on site. I know that's been a question asked in
Great.
the past, but Camp
Yep.
Eagle does have a nurse that we utilize on staff or any
Yep.
sickness or anything like that. So, and we'll make
So
sure
we
if
do-
anything happens at camp that you need to know, that will let you know at that time. But yeah, they're awesome Camp Eagle.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up. Licensed nurse at camp at all times, and believe me, we visited the nurse before in the past, so it's nice having her there. Whenever that happens, we'll communicate with you. We have a medical dosage form that's included in your packet of information. So if your child normally takes prescription medication or allergy medication, whatever it might be, you just need to fill out the medical dosage form and include those when you drop off your kid at the bus with that information. We'll have extras there, but it's always easier if you already have that pre-filled out. All medications need to be in their original container. And then we log any administration of medications in a logbook that shows you exactly when we did it and per your instructions. If you just want to send Benadryl or Tylenol or whatever and just put on there as needed, then that's fine too. And we keep the basics as well in our first aid kits. Every one of our staff are first aid and CPR certified. All of our staff are the best of the best when it comes to being counselors. Many of them have done it many years, and they live for it. They love it. I think of like Isaiah, who's a teacher in Houston, who does it. I think of Ben and Patrick and Morgan and Andrew and everybody. I mean, just amazing. They're just amazing mentors for your kids, right? And I think it's funny, we do all this crazy fun stuff at camp that you think that your kids would remember forever, and they do. But if you ask them after camp is over what they remember most, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you the counselor that was their counselor or that new friend that they met at camp that's like their BFF forever now, right? And so that's how we know that camp works, right? Is when they walk away with those kind of relationships embedded in their mind. All right. I do have the opportunity for a Q&A, and I don't see any questions on there right now. If you have any questions, put them in now, or I'm not getting them. If I didn't get them for whatever reason, they're not feeding into my platform here, then I'll go back to YouTube or Instagram and I'll try to answer them there. I'm trying to think of important questions that kind of always come up, Nicole. Can you think? The medication is a big one. The nurse is a big one.
Meals have always been a big one as well.
What now?
The meals have always been a big one as well, with allergies and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
With registration to communicate that, and we have many meetings with Camp Eagle staff, and we make sure that we make those accommodations.
Yeah.
And communicate with you accordingly.
We do get a lot of questions around communication, like, for example, right? Can I call or email my child? The answer to that question is no, unless there is an emergency. And of course, what is emergency? Your kid gets sick, starts running a fever. We're going to call you. You can talk to your kid, something like that. We're gonna patch you through to them. We do communicate nightly with you in the form of an email. So the director creates an email. It kind of gives you like a rundown on how the day went, what we did. Then we'll send you a bunch of pictures. And so, now that email typically doesn't go out till late. So don't wait up for that. It's really great to have with coffee first thing in the morning. That's usually what I tell parents, right? It's the perfect coffee accompaniment, right? Is the email from your kids' overnight camp. But we do have emergency numbers, and you do have a way to get a hold of us, though. So don't worry about that, okay? All right. Oh,
sorry.
And speaking of phone, and you probably gathered this from maybe comments I made earlier, but we don't allow our kids to bring their cell phones with them if they have cell phones, for obvious reasons, right? We're trying to get away from that, not remain in that space. Okay. What were you going to say?
With registration, especially if you're a returning camper, making sure that emergency contacts are updated if anything has changed in that regard.
Yeah.
Then also with the app and pictures uploaded, I've gotten lots of questions of, well, my grandma lives in another state and she wants to see the pictures. I believe that it's the primary parent that registers the child for camp. It's their login through the app, and I believe anyone, if they have that login information from wherever, are able to go in and see those pictures as well.
Yeah, awesome. Good point there. Thank you very much for that. All right. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to check us out here today. Like I said, this is recorded. We'll post it on there. Let everybody, if you know somebody who wanted to see it, didn't have a chance to see it, feel free to point them towards our YouTube channel. We'll also put it on Facebook after the fact and get it up there. And we'll probably drop it onto the website too as well, so people can have access to it there. Super excited about our 31st year of overnight camp. I can't tell you how powerful I think that the opportunity to go. Look, day camp is great, and it's amazing. There's something about going away to overnight camp that just is magical. And when done right, I think you come home just like grown up a little bit more, you know, a little more confident, a little more courageous, a little more perspective, right? And with a whole lot more friends that you can call your own. So with that, Nicole, anything you want to close us out with?
Nope. Excited for year 31. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful Halloween, and I hope to see you all at camp. And please don't hesitate with any questions. I know all Houston, Dallas, and answer questions, but Austin is the home base for overnight. So any questions, concerns, give us a call or email us.
Thanks. Good luck with your strawberry tonight, by the way.
Appreciate it. Hopefully we timed the naps well where she's cooperating. So
have you practiced the trick or treat thing? Can she say trick or treat yet?
Yeah, we have, for sure.
All right.
Walking up to a door with her, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, she can't walk up to the door by herself now?
Well, technically, because I'll be wearing her, so it's like teamwork.
Okay. Oh, you got like in a baby Bjorn, that kind of thing?
I have like a pumpkin cover. We're doing the whole thing. We're ready to
Okay.
go.
All right, good luck with the pumpkin cover, with the strawberry, with trick-or-treating tonight. And everybody be safe tonight, too, as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you soon. Please feel free to call us if you need us. Bye-bye.